Welcome to Mathos Bridge. We train and learn. We shall continue our C++ programming lab session. Let's get started. Today's lab practice agenda, we are using a Dev C++ IDE to explore basic programming features like use of comments, namespace std, IO statements like cin and cout, and fixing compilation errors, things like that. In today's lab session, we shall see some of the C++ programming features which we widely use in day in day out of programming practices. Like I said, I am using here Dev C++ integrated development environment for my C++ lab practices. You would be using your own interest of IDE. Yeah, it shouldn't be matter as long as you have an IDE integrated with a compiler, a C++ compiler. Dev C++ IDE comes with a default compilers which we discussed in the previous lab session. I launched the Dev C++ IDE which you can see now on my screen. What I will do now, first thing that we should do is like either you create a new project or you can create a project which you already created. In the last session, I have created a default project. Let me reopen the project. Good. I have a project name Mathos Bridge. What I will do now, I would want to create a source file. How would I do that? Let me click on file and select a source file and add it to the current project. Good. So you can extract this plus button to see the file name. Let me save this file name as a main.cpp, things like that, right? Or hello world. Okay, main.cpp. Okay, I did that. If every C++ program should have one main method. The execution of the program starts with the main by default. So let me add a main method, int main, and so my main method returns an integer, so I should put return 0 for instant. Okay, so make a note here. I am trying to use two objects in my program which are cin and then cout, which also known as like a IO statements. One object to which we use to read the inputs from keyboard, one object which we use to display on the console. So that's why I called as a input and output statements. So cin and then cout, you must heard them, right? Cin to read the value from the input, cout to display string object on the console. If you want to use a cin cout objects in your program, you must have to include one header file. You must have heard that one IO stream. Let me add that. How would you do that? In the beginning of the program, I will use #include and enclosed with less than greater than symbol. The file name is IO stream. So this is a header file. In C, we must have to use like name file name .h. In C++, the adding .h is kind of an optional. A compiler recognizes as if it is a header file. So in C++ program, whenever you see this header file, what does that mean? This is a preprocessor directive. All the statements associated with this preprocessor will be taken care prior to the compiler. So let me rephrase. In C++ program typically contains a preprocessor directive statements at the beginning of the a program. Such as statements are processed with hash symbol to indicating the presence of preprocessor directives to the compiler, which in turn lets the preprocessor handles the hash directive statements. Okay, all C++ programs begins with hash include directive that includes specified header file. In our case, we would want to use cin cout methods, predefined methods from the library, and hence these methods are from IO stream, and hence we are using hash include IO stream is a directive, C++ directive. Good. Cin cout, what we said is that one is to display on the console, one object is to extract from the input, right? One more important point that I wanted to highlight here, C++ uses namespace concept. Cin cout are from namespace std, so what we would do, above the main we have to add one single line which is using namespace std. Whenever you use this one, right, what that means is compiler recognized cin cout are from namespace std, and hence it won't throw any compilation error while you compile the code. Make a note of it. C++ supports a single line, multi-line comments. What is the use of comments? Let me first write. Okay, I have cin in. I am using like a double slash, which indicates a single line comments, and then I would say cin is input statement, and then cout is output statement, right? So double slash represents a comment line, and then we can use single line comments or multi-line comments. This type of comments are the single line comments which C++ supports. If you wanted to use a multi-line comments, either you can use a hash symbol at each line to be commented, or else you can use multi-line comment style like a C programming styles, right? You might be seeing something like this. Let me add here. My C++ program should start with main method. This is first method where program execution starts. And I can enclose it with like a star hash. So this is the multi-line comment style. So you can use a single line commentation, or you can use multi-line commentation. So what these comments are for, these comments are a non-executable statements which will not be part of your compiled output. However, for more code readability, to understanding the logic that you written in the code, it is best practice to use some sort of a descriptive notes in your source program so that you can refer that logic, what that logic for in the future days, or if any other developers who wanted to manage this piece of software, piece of this program, let's say, then you would be easily understanding the logic that we are writing here in this case, right? So just like an kind of a like a practice to capture the detailed description for the important logics when you are actually developing a complex programs. So let me print some statement on the console. What is this object that you have to use? Cout. Cout insertion, and then put a C string. Let's say hello, may this bridge. So I have not saved this file, right? After these modifications, how do I recognize? I could see here a star as a prefix to the main program, which means my file got modified but had to be saved. So what I would do, I will put the save button to store my changes in the file system. Good. Let me compile this piece of code using F9 or the compile shortcut. Oh, good. I could see 0 errors, 0 warnings, and then I have my executable is ready. Let me run this using run symbol or F10. I should supposed to see my string on my console. Very nice. Hello, may the spirit. Good. What I will do now, I will try to explore how cin function, cin object works. Cin. Okay. Cin object basically used to read the user input, isn't it, right? So let me add one variable. Let's suppose I need one integer variable, I number, initialized with 0. That means by default the value stored in my variable is 0 of type int. Let me add a comment. Okay, I number is variable of type int. So this variable holds integer type of values. That's what it indicates. Okay, so every statement in C++ program must have to end with a semicolon, right? So let me save this file and then compile it. I would expect to see some kind of error while compilation. Very nice. You see this one, line number 16. What it says is that expected semicolon before the return. Okay, so there is a two problem. Let me comment. Let me take this out for a minute. Recompile it. Good. Now you could see it. Line number 13 stating that expected comma or semicolon before cout. This what is getting. Whenever you see this kind of thing, what you would see, one line above there could be an error in the statement. So that is what it indirectly indicating us. So now you must have to look at a line number 11, and then the missing semicolon should be added now, and save the file, try recompile it, then you should see fixing that compilation error by adding a semicolon. Very nice. Now I resolved my compilation error, right? I could see 0 errors, 0 warnings, and then I would also see my compiled output. If I could run it, I am able to see my output. Nice. Okay, this is not end with, right? You have to notice two important points here. Comment lines can be added anywhere else, not necessarily always to start with like a first character in each line. It can start with like a start of the line, or it can start with like any place in the line. That is how I see this offsets. Okay, make a note of it. Now we shall see how scene object works. What I would do now, I will use scene object to extract the input from the user and insert into my variable called I number. You know what is it I number? I number is of integer type. So I will read the integer value from input and insert that into my variable. Let me print actually, right? So whatever the value that is there in my integer type, then I can see on console. Let me try do that. Value of inum enclosed with the double quotes as a string format, and then insertion operator is what you have to use so that it takes the input from the value variable and then display on the console. Maybe from the user readability, I will add a prompt message like enter input. Let's say. Now I save the changes. I will compile the code. I will run it. It should expect me to see enter input. If you really look at this stage, the scene method object seems to me a blocking call. So it makes program wait for user inputs. Let me add input, otherwise the program stays forever there itself, right? I will add a integer variable because my variable which I declared in my program is integer. When I enter this one, very good, my program takes the input value and then stores the value in my variable I number. When I displayed that I number, I would see the value of I number is 100. Maybe for the readability I will put one more colon, so, and then little space to it also. Okay, and then rerun it. Add 240. Nice. See, this is how I think you can started practicing, using C in C out objects in your program.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, click on the bell icon, and please leave the comment. Happy learning. Thank you. Stay tuned to the upcoming sessions.